coffee mug, Donna. Oh,
That's nice.
that's sweet. That's very sweet. Okay, Sonia, are we all set? Okay, wonderful.
Okay, so we're going to call the meeting to order. It's a show cause hearing on a cease and desist order issued to Mr. Hecht, I believe, for properties at 179 West Flat Hill Road. Pardon me?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Nah. Don't bother.
Okay.
We're just going to go ahead. We all want to get out of here. And related properties, all under common ownership. And because Mr. Marchenko has been to the property and knows way more about this than I do, I'm going to ask him to give us a brief synopsis of his findings and observations that led to the initial order.
Okay, Sonia, if you don't mind clicking the bottom leftmost image, parcel ownership. Bottom leftmost.
Bottom left, this one?
Nope, one over.
more. There you go.
Just double click it. So these are the parcels in question. I was notified by an abutting property owner of some concerns related to construction work in and around wetlands and upland review areas. Most of the inspection was observing the 2.79 acre property. Mount Block and lot is 791-3ER. So it's kind of that central lot. That's where most of the observations were able to be taken. Sonia, if you X out of this image. And then go to the ones at the bottom, pond excavation. So this is essentially, and you can go back and forth to the two images that has the excavator. What I came out to, the pond had been drained, discharged onto adjoining parcels, and it seemed to be underway with an excavation operations. Sign, you can back out of this image as well. And if you wouldn't mind clicking GIS 2019. This is an overlay of the site with vegetation and associated wetlands. And if you click back out one more time, Sonia, and go back to the image just to the right of that last image.
Looking toward.
Yep. And this is what the majority of the parcels look like as of right now. They've been largely cleared, graded, stabilized with grass growth. But the associated wetlands appear to no longer be in full existence or observed to be reduced in some capacity. If you just hit left arrow, Sonia. Yeah, I know.
That one.
Next time I'm gonna keep the mouse over here. Keep going. And just keep clicking. Keep going. Yeah, that's fine. And then the last one I will look to show you is the first image.
Top left.
This is another area where wetlands would have been observed, but now there's kind of just a depression in the land. Essentially, this is the overall site conditions. There doesn't appear to be a lot of stabilization being offered, any water moving over or through the land area. It's a huge land area, steeply sloped, and it all feeds down towards, I believe it's, I actually don't have the road on me, but I think it's one of the purchase roads.
West Flat Hill, I
West
think.
Flat.
Mhm.
So it all feeds down. It's
comes off
you know, largely destabilized from a wetlands perspective. As I was standing in this area, you could actually hear the water percolating over the surface. It's largely vegetated, very heavy in this area, so I couldn't actually observe the water channel, but like you could sit and you could hear the water rushing. So there's a significant amount of water moving over this area, and given the observations based on the GIS images, the wetlands associated that have been surveyed, that map was filed in 2014. There didn't appear to be any existence of those similar wetlands, or they appeared to be undergoing some form of construction activity. I've found no permits in the land use department for any work associated with the wetlands from this commission. In talking with Carl and Mr. Spencer, it became evident that there may have been some in the wetlands discussions previously, but again, I have no documentation of that in the land use office. And that's essentially where the story sits. You've all been given a report that kind of lays out everything I saw on the property. You've all been given access to these images as well. So if there's any questions I can answer, be happy to. Otherwise, we can move on to discussions with the property owner.
If you could pull up the whole batch of them there again, go over to this other map, over on the right-hand side, one down, one more, no, to the right,
Map 4394,
4394.
to the right. Yep, keep going. Nope.
No,
Nope.
go to the white map.
Oh, the white map.
No,
No,
the one on the
other
right,
side.
center
On
far
our
right.
Oh, this one.
that one. And can
I'm
you,
so sorry,
can you, expand that at all?
Bottom, the plus next to the, yep.
Again, and there you go.
Okay, if you look down in the bottom here, this was prepared for Ralph Crozier, so maybe it got filed under that name instead of however it is you've been searching for it.
Was your discussion with Ralph?
Didn't own it.
He was the original owner of this
Yes, this I
property
know.
when it was, oh,
Correct.
He sold it to another person with whom we may have had other later discussions. But it could be Carl's just saying it could be filed.
it's just a suggestion, maybe it got
Upstairs
misfiled under that name or something.
Yeah, it would, yeah, no, I'm happy to look
Just
into
a
that.
thought.
No, fair enough.
But it should be filed by address anyway. Okay, so our job here, this is a show cause on whether we continue the cease and desist or not. So I would invite Mr. Hatch, his representative, to come up and discuss the matter with us, please.
Application 4394.
That's the map number.
If you could give us your name and address, please, sir?
Yep, Peter Hecht, 37 Fairgrounds Road, Woodbury. So I can help clarify quite a bit, and I want to first start out by saying I apologize. I really hope that a lot of this is a miscommunication. The reason for why there's no permits is because when we decided this, I worked with the committee for about a year, 4 years ago already. It was decided that the work that I proposed on doing and I completed was an agricultural right, and therefore it no longer required a permit. And so, if I may, I can hand out the official letter.
That would be great.
Yep, that's a good start.
That's perfect, yeah.
I very much understand why.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can share.
If it would give
I
him,
actually have enough.
No, maybe that's,
did not give him a permit.
So I think a lot of the work that was done is explain what was in there. I worked with a soil scientist from the state of Connecticut on a program, a land grant, and so he worked with me on making sure that it had all the right practices. And so I think I did everything I possibly could and genuinely tried to preserve the wetlands in a way that I can farm over it, and we have produced hay since the completion of the project. And I'm happy to work with the committee on how you guys see fit, but I think where we are today is I would like to rectify whatever you guys have concerns over, but I thought I'd at least show that.
Wonderful.
Okay.
You said you worked with a soil scientist. To what degree were you guys doing work? Was he surveying the land, or was he just consulting with you?
Consulting, yeah.
Just purely consulting?
Yeah, I think one of the discussions I heard you guys have is on the lot that's on the right there, which is technically on the top of the hill, there's like a
The one
hole.
with the existing barn?
Yep, yeah, the
Yep.
hole with the existing barn, that was, I don't think ever officially redelineated as non-wetlands, but that was the big part of what we worked on, so I can,
You're talking about the area to the south of where the barn is?
yes.
That's
Yeah.
where the burning that was taking
yes,
place?
yeah,
Yeah.
you remember correctly.
I believe we found that area had been, oh God, well, this is reaching back a long way, so pardon me if I hesitate a bit. Already substantially altered I believe soil was taken out at one point,
Yes.
and that there were no viable wetlands in there, so that was not an area of concern at the time.
Yep.
I don't think we need to worry too much about that one.
Okay.
That was one that I couldn't really get visual observations of anyway. Yeah, I guess, a couple of things. If you were granted as of right agriculture, that's frankly wonderful, and thank you for providing this to us. Apologies that that information wasn't discovered in the land use
Understand, it's-
department.
Yep.
You know, having said that, there were certain stipulations which are actually in the resolution. And it would appear, in addition to that, you tore up the pond.
So, I understand, and I would like to make it clear, and out of concern for Joe, which I very much understand and respect his opinion, I would like to put the pond back to as is. And I would like to say that, although I didn't notify the committee, and I sincerely apologize, I did not realize that was part of the process as a right. But if you do look at one of the pages, creating a 3-acre pond or less is within the right of a farmer. And so
Yeah, but you still have to come in and tell us.
I know, and I
That's what we
apologize.
want.
I do, and I consulted, and whether or not you guys would like to believe me, prior to receiving the letter, I consulted with my engineer and my excavator contractor. We decided it wasn't the right location for multiple reasons, and before I received the cease and desist, we decided we'd like to put the pond back to exactly how it was. And then I received the letter, and so now I'm here today. So I think, I respect what you guys would have to say, but I would appreciate, out of courtesy of Joe and the maintenance of my property, I don't think this is the right location.
So, oh, go ahead.
So what is the status with respect to farming and agriculture?
So today we hay the lot. Last year we did 27 round bales. So we do indeed hay the lot. And ultimately my vision is to have a horse farm as well.
So the fact that you have multiple pieces of property, are all of them part of that agricultural,
Yes, sir.
and none of them are up for sale individually?
No, sir. They're all one continuous lot, and I purchased it strategically so that I could do this.
They're abutting, they're not contiguous in the sense that they've all been combined.
Yeah, sorry for the,
No worries.
yeah, that's.
So this plan that we're looking at the board then for this, this subdivision, there's no permit from us in place for this plan either, is that
No,
correct?
sir.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Wait.
And so you're utilizing the property as a whole, not as individual building lots currently?
Exactly.
You're using it for
Yeah, it's an
agricultural
approved-
purposes?
Correct. Yeah, it's an approved building for all 4 lots, and it's a very expensive way to own property, but yes, it's just vacant land.
The bottom left, and real quick, Don, I apologize, that parcel isn't being used for agriculture currently. That one's largely,
Yeah, that
What?
is utterly untouched.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I haven't,
Just
I
wanted to
purchased
clarify.
that a few years ago and haven't even touched it
Yep.
yet.
understood.
I think we may have
We should,
not done you or us any favors by not actually giving you a permit for the activities, whether they're as of right or not, because then you would know what's okay and we would know what's okay.
I agree.
I would suggest, subject to our discussing it, that maybe that's the better way to proceed. And you could let us know what you are planning on doing, and we can take it under advisement and then give you a legitimate permit.
Yep.
So you can go ahead and not have this happen again, and at the same time know what's within your scope of authority to do and not do without coming back to us. I recognize that's a real pain in the neck to do that, but an alternate is something like this can happen where maybe you're acting properly, you think you're acting properly, and we don't know it.
Exactly.
We really
Yeah.
don't want to drag somebody in here for
I
no reason.
appreciate it, yeah.
Can you explain your thinking to us about the pond, why you think it's not in the right spot? Is that what led you to kind of excavate it?
So,
And why do you want to put it back in the same spot then?
yeah, so the pond, there's a few reasons. I think truthfully, the biggest reason is because I'm trying to be courteous of the adjacent neighbor. And I think that even though it was within my right to build the pond, I decided that it's not the right location. The drainage is not going to be a simple thing to fix. Truthfully, it's going to be far from where the livestock will be. And And so I just think that it's not strategically the right location, but I think the biggest reason is,
Right, but it was existing, wasn't it? It was an
so,
existing pond?
It wasn't exactly a pond.
Overgrown,
yeah.
It was a
like
watering hole for
Yeah,
the
so
cattle
it
is
was-
really what it was.
It was a
Trampled
built
down.
pond. It was a built pond to begin with.
Today
I don't
or
think so. I think it's more of a
historically?
seep.
Well, before it disappeared.
Yeah, so, well, today there's a much larger pond than what was existing. So what was there before I dug it up was just overgrown brush, and it was just like a depression. And truthfully, a lot of the wetlands that's on here is simply because we're on the side of the hill, and the water just kind of seeps out.
That's where it goes.
So, exactly. So
I would just like to make a point of order. It's been stated the words "as of right" a number of times here today. To be clear, as an as an agricultural use, you're granted certain accommodations when it comes to wetlands. The as of right nature is never determined by you when it comes to wetlands activities. It's always determined by this commission. So any agriculture use or an individual operating under these, parameters always has to appear before this commission with intent of what they're proposing to do, how they're proposing to do it, mitigation practices that they can put in place to preserve the active wetlands. And then ultimately, it's up to this commission to then look at them and go, this is permitted as of right. We don't have to issue you a permit. You don't have to pay for anything, but you did have to consult with us.
okay, understood.
So anything moving forward, that's
Yeah,
essentially
thank you for
the
clarification.
process that's going to be had to have.
Okay.
There's no as of right without this commission deeming it so.
Thank you. Yeah, I did
course.
not realize that was a
Not a problem.
Thank you.
I think what we could use at this point would be a fairly detailed proposal from you as to what you want to do.
I think simply, I would like to put the pond back to the way it was.
I'd like to
and
have
that's
it
the
in
extent of
writing.
it. Okay,
And anything else you want to do.
that's it.
The
all I wanna
resolution,
do.
as I'm sure you're familiar with it, says, "The proposal consists of elimination of invasive species that are negatively affecting the wetlands." You did a lot more than that. So I would like us to get from you, up to you, whatever you want to propose, what it is you propose. So we can take a look at it and say yay or nay.
So I'm happy to do that. If you could please explain what I would need to correct aside from the pond.
Well, the pond is the major issue.
Yeah, and I'm happy to rectify that.
Would it behoove the commission to actually get eyes on the property, to understand what's been done thus far, if things were pushed beyond where they should have been, and if anything should be reclaimed, rehabilitated, or at least addressed from largely a drainage aspect at this point? All the stabilization is gone from the property, all the storage capacity that this land used to have is now gone. Whether or not he was permitted to do that in the first place, or the misunderstanding pushed him into an area where he then wasn't allowed to do this, it would at least give the commission the opportunity to understand all the aspects of all of the parcels involved, and then we can address any concerns that you guys have. Simultaneously, the owner could supply us with any engineering plans. Overall, we can all have an understanding of what the property is currently, what state it currently is in, so anything moving forward, we can understand the best way to deal with that.
I think site visits are in order. I think they would be most beneficial, though, if we could do a little of our homework first and see if we can find the minutes from the meetings that we had regarding this, site visit reports and that sort of thing, so that we can get a nature of the type of discussions that we had and what our concerns at the time were and what the applicant's responses were.
Right, and based on those discussions, if there are gonna be concerns when we address the site visit.
Yeah.
Understood.
I think that's a good place to start, because I think everyone needs a memory refresher, at least I do, prior to going out there, I think would be the most efficient way to go about it. If we have audio recordings, those are great too. I don't know how long they're kept around, but
We should,
we should have at least a
should
couple
have
months
it from
worth
them.
of meetings, I think, on this.
Yep.
now that we have a
Mr.
time,
Laflamme.
now that we have a time
It-
frame to work in, maybe we can get some of that and,
Is the pond spring-fed, or is it an
Yes.
accumulation? So how do we get it back to where the spring is actually gonna,
That's for his engineer to determine. We cannot,
right?
should not.
I think that area is now probably surface water from kind of the looks at it. And
Yeah.
I think as soon as you make a depression, you're gonna have a
It'll open
pond.
up.
Yeah,
Fill
you're
up.
gonna have a pond.
When we were out there before, I mean, you couldn't get real close to it because it was just too wet. So I think it wouldn't take much to restore it. It
Okay.
wasn't any great habitat. As Carl said before, it was more like, it's where the cows went to get a drink.
So long-term, we'd
Depending on
like
the
to
size of it and so forth, it
create a
should be
pond
done
elsewhere.
so that it's done
Potentially.
safely.
I think this is kind of scaring me to.
Because it is a hillside thing, so.
Well, I have a motion to do as Carl suggested. We'll schedule some site visits.
We'll
Have
schedule site
Jordan
visits.
take a look at the file, see if
Yeah.
he can find anything, and we'll try to get out there reasonably quickly so you're not in limbo either.
The only motion we'll be making today is to either continue, amend, or withdraw the cease and desist or the,
I'll make a motion to continue the show cause hearing for 179 and 181 West Flat Hill Road.
Mr. Laflamme
I'll
seconds.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No opposition. And I will make a motion that we do schedule a site visit to go and take a look at it. I'm not sure I even need to do that, but
okay. Second, would anyone like to?
I'll second it.
seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. I hope we do get this straightened out. We really are not out here to bust your chops.
I know, and I'd just like to say that the quicker we could do it to prevent water from going onto Joe's property, I think I
Yep,
appreciate.
That's part of our goal.
So, yeah, just, thank you.
It's gonna be expedited, for sure. We're all gonna wanna
I-
reach a resolution to this, just as much as I'm
And we
sure
wanna-
you are.
Yeah,
Whatever we're going to do done before winter anyway, so.
great, I'd like to hear that.
All right?
Good.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
coming in and explaining all that. I appreciate it. And thank you for
you.
bringing in the documentation as well.
Yes, very helpful.
Yes, thank you, guys.
And on that note, we're done. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Ms. Lesh? Mr. Laflamme again steps up.
3 is the best
All in
number.
favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all for coming today. Really
Yeah, I knew it was before,
prelim meetings.
I knew it was before us. Well, when she sent the text, when she sent the thing around,